Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is just about some basic stuff I have to do to the car. Chris Jr. is not with me today. He's in school. Today's one of my weekdays off. I'm going to try to get some stuff done to the car while he's in school. I need to do some little stuff. Like I need to move the shift light from the center steering wheel column right here over to the tachometer off to the side. I love the shift light. It's awesome. During the day, it's fine. It does its job. It's great. But at night, it's blinding. It's aimed directly right here, right down the center of the steering column into my eyes. It's a bright red light. It's my Glow Shift brand shift light, and it works really well. But it's really, really bright. So I'm going to move it off to the side of the tach. Hopefully, the angle of the light coming from the side isn't going to blind me anymore. After I do that, I'm going to adjust the rail here, the window rail inside the driver's side door. You can hear that. It's rattling around. The glass is flopping around. The guide rail that makes the glass slide up smoothly has come loose. It looks like it's just two bolts backed out and are gone. So I'm going to replace that. And then I'm going to play with the carburetor again. So we've always had a little bit of off-idle stumble, but it's kind of gotten worse lately. So I've been reading online. I need to adjust the accelerator pump. Depending on the reason for the stumble, I'm going to have to adjust the accelerator pump a certain way. So if it's a lean stumble, I've got to make it richer. If it's a rich bog, I've got to make it leaner, and I've got to figure that out. So we're going to go experiment with that. Again, I'm not a carburetor pro. The people watching this who've dealt with carburetors their entire lives are probably like, yeah, stupid. How do you not know this? But I am a carburetor rookie. I'm having to read up on this stuff as each problem arises and try to figure it out. So we're going to go play with our accelerator pump on the carburetor and hope we can get this thing a little more off-idle initial throttle response so it doesn't bog down and stumble. And then I've got to find the source of a little bit of movement in the rear end. Got a little bit of a sway coming from the rear of the car. We just had the front end aligned. It's pretty solid, new bushings, tubular K-member, all that. But the rear of the car is now moving. You give it a little throttle, and you can feel the car kind of shift. And it's definitely in the rear end. So hoping and praying we haven't torn any of these 41-year-old torque boxes. So wish me luck, and let's get started. I decided to start with the window frame since it's right here. I forgot to show what it was like before, but this rail that holds the glass right here had come off. This bolt and this bolt were both gone. So this was just free floating in the window, causing a racket, and still makes some noise. We don't have any trim up here, so the window still floats around a little, but now we have the window guide. So the window will go up now. So that's a nice little repair. It took me about 5 minutes to figure out the size of the bolts and get them replaced. Now I'm going kind of crazy chasing an exhaust leak. I'm not sure what's going on. I checked the exhaust gasket up here on the headers. I checked down where the short throw head or the short tube header meets the H pipe down there. Everything seems good there. These old school 90s Mac headers in the past, well, in the 90s, I had a problem with the socket, the flattening out when you tighten it too much onto the ball of the header, but everything looks good. I felt it from the top and the bottom. I forgot to take my camera with me, but I already lifted up the car, crawled under there. The only thing else I can think to do is just to go ahead and take the entire header off and check for some kind of cracks underneath it that I can't see. I'm wondering if down where the pipes meet for the collector down there, I wonder if there's a crack in there that I just can't see while the header's on the car. But it's driving me crazy. I initially thought it was a lifter tap. I checked a lifter or the rockers. I checked the lifters, I checked the rockers, everything was good there. But I was pretty sure it was an exhaust leak the whole time, but I wanted to be safe and check the lifters and the rockers, and they're good. The reason I'm more confident than ever that it's an exhaust leak is we are now smelling exhaust inside the car, which that's kind of new thing as this sound, this ticking has gotten louder. So I'm pretty confident it's an exhaust leak somewhere. The exhaust may have to come off. As you can tell, the exhaust is kind of rusty. It's pretty old. We sprayed some rust eater on these headers before we installed them, but they're 25 years old roughly, and just the rust eater just ate off of it. It burned off. It took care of the rust for a little while, but the heat has burned it off. We didn't use high temp exhaust paint, so if we pull them back off, we may do that. I'd love to put some long tube headers and a long tube H-pipe on it, but that's just not in the budget right now. We've got other concerns coming up. The garbage men just stopped and complimented me on the car. They saw me driving it around. They said it sounds great and they love it. So that was kind of cool. Now onto the suspension. I have found our movement in the rear end. I jacked it up and look at this. Look at this unknown make, model, aftermarket control arm. Look at that bolt. That thing is ripping the control arm out. I'm guessing it's a pretty soft metal. It's probably just some cheap eBay control arm. I don't know. It's not marked, but that is a big problem. The other side is not like that. The other side is a standard round hole. It's not oblong like this, and I'll show you that here in just a second. Here's the other side. As you can see, it's just a regular standard bolt hole, and you can see on that side, that's the one that's tearing. It's literally ripping through the metal. So I'm gonna have to replace those. They don't really look cheap or thin or anything. They've got greasable joints. They look like they're probably name brand. The bottom ones, the lower control arms, look pretty good, but something is obviously wrong there. So I'm gonna have to start working on all that stuff. At least these control arms aren't as bad as the front ones. Hopefully, maybe. Famous last words, right? All right, I've moved the shift light from up here on top of the dash to over here. Now hopefully when I'm looking straight ahead, it won't blind me as much as it was. We'll give it a try. I forgot to mention I'm going to readjust our Hurst short throw shifter. Here lately I've been having some issues getting it into gear and not quite setting into gear. And if it was just second gear, I would think we had a synchronizer going out or something, or if it was popping out of gear, but it's just not setting into gear, and it's doing it second, fourth, and reverse. It's just not quite settling in. You've got to give it a little extra love to keep it in those three gears. So I'm going to dial this back a couple of turns and see if it gets any better. You can see how very little I've adjusted this. I don't know if that's 1/16 of an inch or not even 1/8 of an inch. I just barely dialed it back a little till now it sits and it seats much firmly into gear. Even when the car is off, you can just feel it pop into gear just a little bit more firmly. Now with the car running, I can just click it into gear easier. It's setting deeper into gear. Oh yeah, I can get into reverse a lot easier. So I think that's all it needed. It just needed to go back that tiny little bit, and the gears are already a lot easier. At times when I'd go into second, it was clicking right here, and it just wasn't setting into gear. So I think this will solve our problems. And if it doesn't, then maybe we do have some synchro issues. I just found it odd that it's second, fourth, and reverse. And at times I had trouble really getting it into reverse. I was really worried about my reverse gear being healthy, but now it's just clicking right in there, no problem. Next up is the accelerator pump on our Edelbrock 1406 carburetor. I forgot to take video of it, but it comes set on this middle hole here, which you can't see. You can see the bottom one. Oh, there you can. You can see the middle one now. I just adjusted it to the top hole. That is going to lean it out a little. We're going to see if we have a lean bog. I mean a lean stumble, or if we have a rich bog. I suspect it's already a little bit of a lean stumble. It needs to go rich, but I'm going to experiment with it. And we're going to start off lean and see how that responds, and then we'll change it if we need to. Well, that did not go well at all. I'm guessing I adjusted the accelerator pump the wrong way, because our off idle stumble got worse. It's actually running pretty horribly right now. So I'm going to go ahead and swap the accelerator pump to the bottom notch. I experimented with it. I tried it on the top notch because I didn't know if we had a lean stumble or a rich stumble or what we had. So I decided to try to lean it out a little more. It did not work. It's too lean now. I'll swap it back and see what happens. And now we have our accelerator pump set to the richest setting. And we're going to go out and see how it performs now. Huge difference already. I set the accelerator pump a lot richer, and I dialed back the idle mixture screws a quarter turn to be richer, and it's already got 10 times better throttle response. It's not perfect. It's still just not quite right, but it's a lot better than it was. It's missing less, and it's got faster response. And then when I leaned out the accelerator pump, it got horrible. It would barely run. So this is a lot better. It's at least fairly consistent. I've still got some tuning to do on it and see what's going on with it. Still got a little miss, but nothing like it was. So I pulled over again, and I set my idle mixture screws back to where they were. Quarter turn leaner than they were, and things have improved again. By far the best throttle response I've gotten, so I'm going to go ahead and just leave it the way it is now and call it a victory. I am still smelling exhaust in the car. I don't know where it's coming from. I've already checked all the exhaust when it was cold. I couldn't feel any leaks. I checked the plug in the back of the head, the whatever it's called. I couldn't find a leak there. The headers, the H-pipe, everything seems solid, but I'm still smelling just raw exhaust in the car as I'm driving. It's driving me crazy. I don't know what to do about that. I think that's all I've got for today. I just had to do some quality of life basics, some stuff I've been forgetting to do and check on. The next thing that Junior and I were planning on doing was installing a new heater core in the dash and getting heater lines and a restrictor from the water pump to the new heater core so we'd have some heat. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that rear control arm. I can't risk it breaking while we're driving, but a new control arm wasn't in the budget. Neither was exhaust work, but it looks like we're going to have to fit both of those in the coming weeks. So check back for videos on that soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.